Test, test. Hey, there we go. The microphone's found. Hey, folks, how's it going? It is Wednesday. We're doing some game dev today. Microphone decided to turn itself off before the stream, which is very useful. It is a loose connection. I'm probably going to have to clean it or something. I don't know. Something's not right. You have to knock it and the cable comes loose. It doesn't help that the stand that's holding the microphone is also loose, so the microphone becomes loose, the cable becomes loose, and the whole thing kind of goes downhill from there. But I've ordered myself a new stand for the microphone, and I probably just need to check the cable connection, I suppose. And yeah, that's one less thing to worry about when going live. So yeah, we've got quite far with this game dev project. I've done a little bit of UI stuff off stream, which I can show you shortly. Actually, let's get comfortable with the things here. Move that over. You can see me okay. See if I'm streaming to all channels. I can see myself on Restream. Restream's telling me I'm live. Twitch is telling me I'm live. And YouTube's telling me I'm live. Awesome. We are live in all the places that matter, and probably places that don't as well. Let's switch over to the main screen. I will have to open Visual Studio because that's not open yet. So we are using some AI generated art for the background here, but I would like to recreate this scene that the generator has produced, but using assets in the game. So basically just the castle, tower.
History will remember your contribution to this.
Hey, Cube, thank you very much for the raid. Hugs all round. Much appreciate that. How's it going? Hey, hope you're having a good Wednesday. It's good to see you, and anyone else that's coming for the raid, welcome in. I much appreciate any support, big or small, is always welcome here. How's everybody doing? Yes, so far so good, awesome. Glad to hear. Were you just live? Were you doing some streaming? If so, what have you been up to? Yeah, did these buttons off stream. Thought, you know what, let's just find a nice fancy looking font that kind of indicates a medieval kind of old England type of thing, and put a wooden background in it. Seems to work. How's the game going? I haven't been here in a hot minute. Game's going alright actually. I can show you what we've got so far. Let's run the game. The only thing is, running it in Unity, I found the lighting effects don't apply correctly when you switch scenes, but when you fully kind of publish it and it runs, the lighting effects work. I don't know, apparently it's a thing. Let's put the sound down. So we have an options menu. Go to options. I need to kind of calibrate volumes, because at the moment that low background volume there is perfect. So if you put it up way too high, that's way over the top. So we'll put music off. We don't need music. Actually, no, I'll put a little bit of music in there. Go back. Let's play the game. Let's load that up. So lighting's a little bit off when you open the scene via the main menu in the editor. So we have this. So what I'll do, I'll stop this and I'll run it straight from, not main menu, level 1. I'll run it straight from here, and that sort of gives a more accurate view of what the level actually looks like when it's been run from a published kind of point of view. But as also happens with Unreal, I'm pretty sure there's a fixed workaround while working on the engine, but I'm not sure it is. That's good to hear that. It's not just a bug I'm dealing with. But I test the scenes per scene. and then I kind of test it as a whole. But I know this is what the scene looks like when I publish it. So this is what we have. So we have our trebuchet here, which twists with the A and the D key, or you can actually click and hold these buttons on the screen. At the moment, spacebar applies power and launches. You can also click and hold the launch button, and once you release, the power is set and the rocket is launched. We've got a nice little timer in the top left telling us how long it's taken to complete the level, and our target hits 33 out of 120. When we hit that 120, we have completed the level. I did some redesign this area, put like a couple of hedges and some trees. There was a bell tower there, but I thought the bell tower might be distracting because we want to be hitting the buildings and people might think the bell tower is part of that. So I've taken it out for now. But the difficulty is certainly increased when you can't hold a target. You kind of have to apply power with each shot. I see, yes. So this is, I'm not sure if I should keep this as level 1. Maybe I'll keep this as level 1. Probably a few improvements. And then I'll make more complicated levels as I go. Been a few suggestions on how to increase difficulty and add more mechanics, like this kind of has it with this tree, because this tree stops you from hitting that far end, so you kind of have to bounce it off to get that last row of targets. So I'm thinking that's not a bad kind of difficulty level, as long as people see it as a difficulty sort of added difficulty, not like a bug, like, oh, the only way you can complete it is by trying to throw the rock around the tree. But it's kind of intended, wasn't intended, but I'm choosing to see a bug as a feature. Oh, got that just a little bit more power. 2 more. This is where it's a bit harder to see. When it's full screen, you can see what's going on a little bit better. I've got that one there. One more. It might be there, it might not be there. No, certainly not there. Or is it there? There it is. Done it in 3 minutes 38. Building rumbles to the ground in a cloud of smoke. Still need to change this play again button to match the design of the other ones. And I want to change this text to make it look a bit more in keeping. Game design would be obstacles in front of the building. Sounds a lot of potential there. Yeah, so I'm thinking make it hard to hit the building in some way or form. There's already a difficulty level with trying to adjust the power and the angle to hit the building. But then you just start adding more things in there. Hey, we love turning bugs into features, of course. Hey there, Cosine, welcome in. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. You come in with Cubicubes. We got our little sort of white flag of surrender being waved there. Yes, indeed, awesome. Hey, I came in with cubes as well, but I was doing things, forgot to say hi, so hi. How's it going? Sorcia? I do apologise. My comprehension of the English language, despite being a native speaker, is not fantastic. So anything that comes from any inspiration from any other languages, I am hopeless indeed. fellow game dev, or you can call me Sausage. I like that, Sausage. I'm a fan of sausages. I love a good sausage. You can take that as you will. Portuguese things. So yeah, I'm hopeless with English. And as soon as you start throwing other languages in, it becomes more complex for me. Sausage. I like sausage. We're a fellow game dev. What kind of things do you work on then, Sausage? Yeah, this is my first kind of proper game, I suppose. Like I've done, like, messed around and made little things, but nothing I could really call a game. So I thought, you know what, let's try making a game from start to finish. And I thought I'll stream this. So my entire process of learning to make this has been on stream. So there's a few things I've probably done in a hacky kind of way, because I didn't know the correct way to do so, but it works like these trees. It's not an animation as much as it's a coded movement, but it works. I'm a 3D artist mainly, but I go along with programming. I'm learning shaders in Unreal or Unity soon, like post-process effects for games and oh, nice. Yeah, I'm that's far beyond my level. Now I can do a little bit of Blender modeling, but as far as like lighting and shaders go, I've not even looked at that. Also, when the rock hits the collider trigger, it triggers the movement animation on the tree, basically. But it isn't actually I've not used a movement animation as much as just a set of mathematics code that just changes the rotation of the tree. So I could have made an animation and then just trigger the animation. So what you say there would have been the better way of doing it. But I hadn't learned animations by the time I made the tree. Oh, thank you very much for the follow on Twitch there. And that message pops up for everyone. Because I've had so many bots come into the channel going, hey, how's it going? Where are you from? What do you like to stream? Buy my emotes. Yeah, no. New follower, thank you indeed. I do appreciate that. But yeah, I've had to put that message up because probably the last 15 followers, probably 15 of the last followers, put it that way, 15 of the last followers have just been bots trying to sell stream graphics. Is that this might not look fancy to you, but I designed it myself and I'm happy. But they don't like to listen. Yeah, there's these I'm quite proud of this brick spawner. So I just have a clear invisible object that I just place, and I just spawn randomly generated bricks in the designated area upon completion of the level. So I was quite happy with it. I did try to spawn a built brick wall, and I thought, you know what, I don't need to spawn the wall, I just need to spawn the result of knocking a wall down. Yeah, it's a thing, unfortunately. Yeah, I suppose it's an opportunity. Is there any way they can try and make money? But I've got a few filters on my chat that picks up, and there's a pattern. They become too predictable. I'm very good at checking out patterns. I notice patterns very easily. Yeah, we hit play again. Boom, building comes back. So I've only got the one level, as you see. I would like to make a level 2, but I want to make sure my UI and all the mechanics are fine before I start adding more content. To be honest, I'm quite surprised I haven't seen those bots recently. I'm not sure what the threshold is, QB, whether it's based on concurrent. If your concurrent's slow enough, they think, hey, you must be a new streamer. Before I've just cursed myself. Yeah. Yeah, they'll probably start attacking you now. It might be, yeah. Because my concurrent typically is quite low. Not that's a problem. I'm quite happy. I will say I'll be streaming and doing game dev whether there's anyone in the chat or not. Whether you're lurking, whether you're chatting, makes no difference. I allocate this time of my evening for game dev regardless. And streaming it means I get to chat to cool people as I do it. But I don't make myself an attractive streamer, I suppose. I've never been about being the next big thing. I don't want to be the next big thing. I just want to do my own thing. But yeah, you might have one quiet day and the bots might start coming in. Because I know a few streamer friends that don't get the bots, but then some that do. I totally respect that, to be honest. Oh, thank you. But no, I want to be individual, and I stream for myself. And there might be a bit of a cliche thing to do, but one of the things I enjoy about streaming is setting up the bots and setting up OBS, which is, I suppose, for a lot of streamers, is probably the worst thing. They just want to stream, but I want to actually, what can I do with this technology of live broadcast? So that's more of my interest, to be honest. I should focus on game dev much more, to be honest. Well, it's a hard thing to do. I decided I only stream 3 times a week, and I was doing gaming streams for at least 2 of those. And I thought, well, do I want to play games or do I want to do game dev more? So I sacrificed my schedule to just do game dev on Wednesdays and Fridays, and I've been gaming a lot less. Not that I say I'd love to game more, but I've only got so much time I can put in during the week, and I've had to go, you know what, I can game at the weekend when I'm chilled and there's not so much of a schedule. I can just pick up my console and play when I want. Whereas streaming, you kind of have to have a set time frame to work with. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying learning, and I'm quite proficient on C# now. That was before I even picked up Unity. Just even more so learning this. Let's stop that because that will just keep looping the music. Oh, it's down there. What I do find fascinating with Unity is that the UI element is this massive thing, and your game level is just down there. But we do want to change some things here. Great thing you chose C# rather than C++. Yeah, because I wanted to learn C++ initially, because I thought, well, C++ is the gaming language, isn't it? Games are made with C++. And I've got books that old game dev friends of mine gave me that said, well, this is what I read to learn C++, and they're about 15 years old, these books. And I started reading it. Well, that seems complicated. Like my background has always been basic. So when I was younger, I coded in BASIC, and then moved on to Visual Basic, and then Visual Basic for applications to work with Microsoft Office, and then Visual Basic.net, and kind of did all the kind of the in-office kind of stuff coding, and then realised C#, once it's in the same environment, pretty much works like Visual Basic now, and then kind of stepped sideways, learnt C#, went, Unity uses C#, bonus. So I was able to then apply my skill into this. Yeah, canvas feels so weird, most. Yeah, I took some getting used to that. Where's the canvas? Where do I edit it go? Oh my god, it's up there. Not only the game language, but generally the language, but C++ is complicated. It's harder to screw up, but when you screw up big time, and then you have to work a lot with memory and threads optimization. Yeah, so I'm guessing if you do C++ well, you can get the most out of the hardware. So if you've got most control, you can really squeeze performance out of something, which is, I suppose, is why it's used so often in game dev, because depending on what you're developing for, you don't necessarily know what you have to work with, or you might know what you have to work with, and the hardware is not that intensive. Whereas I know C# has a lot of libraries behind it. You have to load the things before you even get to the front end. So it's not as efficient, and especially if it's piggybacking off a game engine like Unity. You've got so many libraries loading up before your code. I can see it not being as efficient. But it certainly feels easier for me because my background is kind of... I've built up the architecture to that point where I understand that. But I wouldn't mind stepping sideways again to C++ at some stage and learning some of that, because I might understand it more, or I don't know if I'm going to get confused because I know C# and trying to work with C++, and it's going to be, well, I know what this is, but am I going to get confused with this? Because I wouldn't mind doing some Unreal Engine stuff at some point, but Unity felt more natural for me. But you never know, I might get into that. I've got a few like Teach Yourself C++ online courses that I've picked up, so I'll give those a go at some stage. Yeah, I mainly work with Unreal Engine. Nice. Yeah, it looks a nice engine, and I know you got great opportunities with Unreal. One thing that attracted me to Unity was its cross-platform compatibility kind of built into it, which I quite like the idea of, the fact that I can just deploy for Android and just have it on my Android phone without really worrying too much. As long as the game's not too demanding, I know I can actually run it on an Android device. This game isn't specifically been designed for Android, but I'm going to do some testing. That's why I got the on-screen controls as well as keyboard. So if I can get it working on Android, that'd be quite nice. Doesn't feel too demanding, but I never know. It'll be a good test of optimization, I suppose. But yeah, I'd like to do some work with Unreal Engine. I wouldn't mind seeing what Godot's like, just to like dip my toe in and go, well, what's kind of the what's the hype about? I know after Unity did that whole PR disaster, a lot of people kind of forced into other engines. But I'm never going to make enough money to even be affected by any financial things on Unity, so I'm pretty easy on that. Let's get a little bit of music going in the background. Now I haven't got the game music. I just want to work on the design of this. Let's find a nice chilled live stream. Oh look, I'm live. Awesome. Bit of lo-fi. That's probably about right. Maybe a little bit quieter. It only needs to be background there. Okay, that's hopefully not too loud. It just kind of takes the edge off silence, I suppose. Yeah, actually yesterday downloaded CryEngine to give it a try, but it was a mess only to install the launcher, and now that I got it, I simply can't download the engine. Oh. Yeah, blimey. Yeah. There's so many engines out there, I suppose, that are still floating around. But I didn't realise the CryEngine was still available. I suppose, yeah, you don't really think of it for development. But I know there's a few games that were built with that. Now I could do with so I want to get away from the default Unity UI. and I've just basically just given it the frosted look with a green and red slider. Options menu I'm happy with. I think I'm happy with options menu. Let's show that for a sec. Yeah, option menu. Well, apart from the sliders, got to do something with the sliders again. And I'm thinking I need to kind of make some of these things into prefabs, so I can use them across multiple levels without having to copy paste so many versions of it. Yes, sir. New Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is made in Cry. I did not know that. And that looks a good game. Like one of my stream friends, Colt Hikikomori, who might be in today. I don't know. Can't see him in the chat there. He's a big fan of Kingdom Come Deliverance, but I've not played the first one or looked properly at the second one. But it's certainly something that's on my list of games to check out, because it really does look cool. I want to try Godot. CryEngine never really drew my eye. That's fair. Yeah, because I know Godot had its own scripting initially, and they've implemented C# more recently. So that's certainly caught my eye now, because I don't have to learn yet another scripting language. I can just script in C#. So that would make my life easier to kind of get in, because I know my logic in C#. I can do the things I want to do programmatically. It's just learning the engine specific stuff. Ooh, silly game. Hey Shane, how's it going, dude? It's been a while. I hope you've been keeping well. Yeah, human. Hey there, Jeffrey. There's Colt Hikikomori. Good raid, I see. Yes, indeed. Yeah, cubes. Raided with an awesome group of people. It's good to see though, Shane. Yeah, we're doing some game dev. I do game dev every Wednesday and Friday where I can. You guys are making me talk today. Yeah, let's just play the level and show you guys what's going on if you're not familiar. So I do have a main menu. Let's turn this background music off. So do have some UI graphics now. I need to make a graphic for the power slide on the side here, because that's just default Unity. So need to think of something theme appropriate for that slider. Maybe like a wooden plank with a metal thing or something, or a bit of rock, I don't know. Not been on Twitch much lately. Glad to catch you again. Probably look. That's all good, Shane. You do what you need to do. It's good to see your face. But yeah, I don't get much chance to kind of go around Twitch and watch people. Like years ago, I was pretty much spent most of my life, my online life, I should say, watching Twitch streams. Like any downtime I had, I wouldn't watch TV. I'd just stick a stream on, have that in the background while I'm doing other things. But a lot these days, I'm so away from a screen that by the time I actually get to be sat in front of a screen, I'm actually going live. Which is a shame, because I don't get to see all the awesome people that I follow. I use sort of sometimes put a stream on at the weekend, but I'm busy doing other things, so I don't always get to chat. So if you ever see me lurking, you know that I'm watching or listening in, and I'm busy with something else. But I'm definitely there. Probably need to vary the sound pitch of the rock hitting. a little bit more, because it is varied. There is a slight pitch variation, which I found stops the monotony of the same repeating sound. As like an audio tip for game dev, is that if you have a repeating sound, have the pitch vary each time you hear it. Like if you hear a sword swipe, it's not just swipe, 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 it's swipe, 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 swipe. And you've got that kind of this varying pitch, which makes it a bit more interesting. And I thought, you know what, that's quite an interesting idea. I never considered that. It's not something I think about when I'm swinging a sword around in the game, that the sound of the sword swipe is not the same pitch for every swing. And certainly in a sequence of swings, it might be the same pitches within the same sequence of pitch, but not the same pitch per swing. So there is a pitch variation on that rock, but maybe I need to vary it a little bit more so it feels a little different. Because you can hear it, it dips and it goes up a little bit. But yeah, I probably need to vary that a little bit more. But yeah, there's lots of things you don't think about until you start your game dev journey. They're things that sort of happen in the background that you don't consciously notice. It's the same with any media, I suppose, like music or TV. The little things that kind of add to it aren't supposed to be noticeable, but make the difference. Maybe you could add one or two more different sounds so they are influenced by different pitch. Yeah, that's a good point. Random one played each time. Yeah, I could probably do with, yeah, because it's the same sound each time. You can see it randomly selects an image for the crack. So I have about 4 or 5 different crack images, and that gets randomly selected before hitting. Actually, they're already there, so when it hits, it just reveals the pre-selected random image. But certainly, if I have at least 2 more crunch sounds that, upon triggering the hit, will select one of the 3 and then play. And then obviously it's already randomly selecting a pitch on hit. But yeah, that'd be a good idea actually, just to stop it from sounding a bit just constant crunch, crunch, crunch. But there is one thing I want to do, just to kind of give a little bit more immersion, I suppose, if you can get immersion in this type of game. Is that sound is perfectly fine for a rock, but say if I choose a chicken as a projectile and I'm throwing a chicken at a building, the chicken's not going to sound like it's a rock hitting a wall. It's probably going to cluck, it's going to screech or something. So I need to have sounds in there that reflect what you're throwing at the building. So there certainly needs to be a variation of what the sound is, even if it is just per chosen projectile. Like the pumpkin is not going to sound like a rock. It will, however, probably sound like a crumbling piece of fruit, or like a splatting, a wet splat sort of sound. So I do need to build a mechanic to kind of insert different sounds. So you aren't going to always throw rocks. That's cool. Oh, thanks for saying so. Yeah, like these are just random objects I've thrown in there. The panda and the pumpkin I built in Blender. That's kind of like Blender, like testing my Blender skill. But again, yeah, this is based off a plushy panda I have. You can probably just about see, yeah, over my shoulder there. There's a plushy panda, and that panda in the game is a Blender sort of recreation of my panda. So I thought I just sat this thing in front of me and just made it in Blender. I thought, you know what, I can throw that in the game. So the panda's not going to sound like a rock. They need to have some rotation in the air. Yeah, I could probably do, because it's at the moment it's applying a forward force. So what it's doing is it's going, pointing it in a direction, applying force, and it goes. So, but I suppose once you can see the pandas now. Yeah, I got a few of them actually. But I'll switch up to full camera. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, that panda there is the one in the game. But I got like a baby panda there, and I suppose you call it like a mama panda or something, slightly bigger panda. I do have one more panda somewhere. There's quite a few pandas. It's basically mine and my partner's thing to have pandas. So we give each other pandas. But yeah, that plushy one there is the one in the game. I'll bring that up on screen and switch back over. That's awesome. Oh, how do you think so? But yeah, this panda in the game is my interpretation of that in Blender. So I thought, you know what, that'd be quite fun to throw a plush panda. But what I would like to do, you see, a rotation would give it a bit more kind of life, I suppose, rather than just object statically moving, if that's such a thing. Staying static but moving in position. So maybe like a subtle, I suppose, would it be forward rotation? But it'd have to be rotation within the... yeah. So the way I've done this, which I thought was probably the better way to do it, so I can switch it up. Randomly apply a forward rotation and to the left or right as well. Yeah, that's probably the better idea. Forward is stronger most times. Yeah, so there's a couple of ways I could probably do this, because I'm applying a forward rotation. Well, forward force, sorry. Can't find it. Let's close this up. The rock, yes. So the way I've built this to allow you to swap out the skins, I suppose, of what you're throwing. As what I'm actually throwing in the game is this empty object called rock. So that is what's being thrown. That's what's got the rigid body. That's what's got the collider. But it has no mesh. What I do, however, do is change the mesh out through the UI. You can change what the mesh is, and therefore you change what it looks like you're throwing. So depending on what mesh you select will be depending on what sounds you choose. But then I could apply rotation to the mesh and not the parent object. So the parent object can probably still have the current forward force applied, but then I could do a very minor rotational applied to the mesh. As long as I reset it though, because once it comes back, it is the same object coming back to the player. Hello, okay, Tortoise Teeny, how's it going? Good to see you. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. Hope you've been keeping well. I sell emotes. Hey, Lisa. I see. Great. How about you? Doing quite well. Ban, ban, ban. Yeah. We haven't had any bots today, Lisa. Yeah, I think QB Cubes has saved me from the bots. But yeah, doing good though, Tortoise. Doing good indeed. I sell nudes. I scare them off with my emote selling aura. Gonna join any game jams. Brackley's game jams coming up in 3 days. Ooh, I would love to join a game jam. I don't know if I'm at the stage. I know game jams are very good for kind of jumping into the deep end of game dev. Whereas like, what you have a theme, you have a time limit, make something, and that kind of gives you the drive to go. Well, I need to do something. No point worrying about the how clean it is or how the specific it is. I just make a thing. 10.4k people have joined. Bet you would do good 1 week time. Yeah, I'd have to make sure I had time set aside. That I only do game dev for 4 hours a week at the moment. So that'll be 4 hours to make a game, which is not impossible. Unless I dedicated all my free time during that week. But I definitely do want to do a game jam at some point. I think maybe once I've finished playing with this particular project, I might go, you know what, I've made a game from start to finish. Let's have a challenge now. Let's see if I can use this knowledge to make something on a schedule with a theme that has been chosen for me. But I'll certainly keep an eye on that. I know there's game jams all the time, so I certainly need to jump into one. But there's so many things I've learned making this that if I were to make this from scratch again, that I would do differently. So this in itself has taught me a lot of things. And I'm probably going to have to go back and change a few things because they might not be in the best way of making them, and I can certainly do it better. Now the rock, I don't know whether the changing the mesh of the rock is the best way to go, but it does mean all the code only applies to the parent object. It doesn't apply to all the different types of rock. I call rocks, but pandas, chickens, barrels, chairs. The projectile object, I should have really called it, but I started off just being a rock and thought, you know what, maybe I can change the rock to a chair. So everything is called a rock. But then the player won't see that, they'll just see projectile. So yeah, that kind of thing I would probably do differently if I did it again. And the control system is messy. It started off one design, but I changed the design partway through. So I kind of adapted the controls to fit my new design, but I didn't rebuild it from the ground up. So it functions. It functions, but I certainly wouldn't do that from scratch. Because to start with, I had a target, and you would move the target to where you want the rock to hit, and when you launch the rock would always hit the target. But then there's no challenge in that, you're just moving a target around. You might as well just click on it and shoot. So I've changed the target to a system where you have to power it up and move it around, but the target is still there, you just can't see it anymore. I've been coding for a long time and I'm still super unoptimized. Well, that kind of gives me some kind of confidence to go, well, you never quite get there without a lot of experience, I suppose. So that's reassuring. That's the word I think. Reassuring that you don't get there sort of straight away. But I suppose the key to optimization is knowing what the outcome, like the final thing should be before you start, and you don't always know that. You don't always know where you're going until you get there in some cases. You know roughly where to go, but like me, I didn't think going one direction, go, actually, that's not going to work. Now I've made it and now I've tried it. That doesn't work. I need to change it. Can't wait to see the objects hitting the wall and blowing up, being destroyed. That's what's going to make it much more fun. I could have like some TNT or something. But yeah, I would love my original design idea, QB, was to actually have parts of the building blown away. But I realised that's actually quite a complex thing to do, at least for my skill level. So for what, you know what, let's just have a static sprite image indicating it's being hit, and then do all the smoke and mirrors of the building falling down. Games like Skyrim and Cyberpunk are actually so messy. They're being held on by mods at this point, but they're still two super good games. True. Yeah, I like the buttons, but oh, thank you. Yeah, I just found a free wooden like wood effect background on like a background site or like image site, and then got like a button template. Found a nice font, and yeah, that's what we got. I 3D model my buttons, take a picture, and then import the image. That works easy. Yeah, that's you notice when you're selecting the rocks or the projectiles, I actually just lined up each of my objects. Put a lighting source on it, put a plain colour background behind it, took a screenshot, put it into Photoshop, applied an alpha channel around it so it was transparent, made all the image files the same dimensions, and then brought it back into Unity and just put them in as sprites. And that seemed to work quite nicely. I was maybe referring the pumpkin should stay intact after. Oh yeah, like I would love. Well, I have thought about doing Kubies, getting the pumpkin object, taking it, opening up the Blender file, and maybe cracking the mesh into 3 or 4 parts, and having it held together as one mesh, and then having a animation where the parts kind of fall away upon triggering the hit trigger, so the parts of the mesh animate away upon hit. The same as a crate. There's a wooden crate. If I take the wooden crate and turn it into individual parts, where it animates the falling apart, that would probably look a bit nicer, where it's like hits, falls, disappears, and then miraculously comes back to the player in its default state. Thing where you make procedural cracks, it's so weird. Yeah, I saw procedural. I haven't seen about procedural cracks. I've seen like mesh slicing stuff. I couldn't quite understand it, so I thought I'm not going to put anything in I don't understand. Procedural cracking would be interesting. Like your shirt, you know I love Hawaiians. Yeah, I thought I'd put on like a nice Hawaiian style shirt today. I can see some gameplay you haven't seen in about a month. I remember a catapult, a castle, pandas. Sorry, I had to repeat someone's spelling errors. That's okay. Yeah, it does disappear. Oh yes, I can see gameplay I hasn't seen in a month. Catapult, castle. There, you can repeat as many times as you like. Yeah, annoyingly on my bot, the chat rolls off and I can't see it. Well, on my one bot, but I have a chat bot that I can see if a longer list of comments. So yeah, I can see both your comments there. That's fine. But yeah, I can we'll load this back up again. Yeah, so we have a catapult, which is the camera is linked to the catapult. Like at the moment, for like the purposes of me sort of debugging stuff, like the rock is floating, because basically that's where it lives. C is still low poly. You plan on improving on that? For this particular game, no. I think we'll keep the charm of it being low poly. For I do have another project in the works that it won't be quite this low poly. It won't be super high res, but it's going to be a higher kind of quality than this. But this is my testing ground, and then I'm going to take what I've learned from this to put into my other project. Those bushes to the right new, yes. So I got rid of the bell tower, put some hedges and put the trees in there. For, you know what, I only want the only buildings in this level to be the one that the player needs to hit, because otherwise it's going to get confusing. Go, well, is that part of the level, or do I need to hit that? So I thought I'll take it out, and then any buildings will be only buildings in the level will be what I want the player to hit. I remember you telling me how to improve the catapult animation. Oh yes, yeah. So yeah, I was quite happy the catapult animates now. Certainly makes it a lot better. It took me ages. That was one of the most complicated things, learning to animate the catapult. But I'm very happy for that. Usman, how's it going? I make shaders for a living. Would you like any help with your game? Not right now. Sort of, I say, the look of this is I'm quite happy how it is. My next project will be a little while before I start even creating the objects. I need to build all the objects in Blender before I actually move on to coding anything for that. So I'll probably be doing that while I'm still working on finishing the levels for this game. So I'll probably do a Blender stream and a Unity stream. Unity will be working on this game, Blender will be making the assets for the next game, possibly. Some Aussies are stuck on the screen. Oh no. They can stay there. Aussies welcome to stay on the screen. The thing where you can use the bar to go through the frames, did you use it? The bar to go through the frames. Oh yeah, the slider. So as you have the two states and you kind of cross across the between the two frames. I did that, if that's what you're on about. Procedural cracking on the buildings would be great. Yeah, at the moment, as I say, it's got a there's an invisible grid that I procedurally generate across the building, and for each part of the grid, it randomly selects a crack sprite, and when you trigger off that part of the grid, it reveals the selected crack. I could probably do with a few more cracks. I've coded for more cracks to be available. I just haven't loaded more in there. But because it's not actually hitting the building, it's hitting the grid, and the grid is what's counting for the counter in the top left. And once all the grid spaces have been hit, it then triggers the win condition. So the building itself has no cracks on it. Those cracks are actually floating just in front of the building. Osman is a learning ground for me. Yeah. Using other works in there. No. So it's certainly appreciate the offer. Certainly appreciate the offer. So, but I want to try and learn as many things as I can, and then once I hit my limits, I go, well, this is something I can't work on, or something I'm having difficulty with. I can then kind of outsource and like ask for help from community and stuff, and go, well, this is something I need help with. Can anyone offer it? But for the moment, I've not even thought lighting beyond the default light, let alone changing shaders and stuff. But I know a shader can make a big difference to the feel of a game. For this particular one, I'm using found assets. I've not built any of the assets you see in the 3D environment apart from the panda and the pumpkin. The only things I've made, everything else is from a basic low poly medieval castle set, which I thought, you know what, perfect, I can make a game of this. Best way to learn is dissect senior professionals' work, in my opinion. Thank you for stepping in there, Tortoise. There, everyone has ways of learning. Yeah, there's things sort of fors and against. But yeah, I certainly appreciate the offer, but it's not something I can really utilise right now. I'm just saying, not trying to get something Kawa's offering for free. Well, I do appreciate that, thank you. But no, it's not something I can really utilise right now. No, that possibly once I work on my bigger project, I might go, you know what, I need a shader, and I don't know how to make one. But to be honest, I'd probably look into making my own shaders, and then look at what other people have done, and then learn shaders and stuff from that point. But my main thing really is to get into grips with the engine. What is your bigger game about? So I've not actually revealed anything to anyone apart from those within physical touching distance to myself. But the bigger game will be an adventure. I'm thinking inspirations are old school RPG. The likes of inspirations could be things like Zelda, Pokemon, possibly a little bit of Baldur's Gate. That kind of idea. No sex scenes, no. So that kind of inspiration, not to that much detail, because there's so much that goes on in those games, but that kind of feel of gameplay, the feel of the gameplay around those kind of things, and I'm going to make it as modular, make the environments as modular as possible to allow myself to kind of work on little bits and kind of put it together. The effect you're currently making is ideal for shaders, so I'll look into destructible shaders if I was you. Okay, that's a good thing for me to check out, thank you. Well, it's you, so I'll still play it. Yeah, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but like an old indie, like an indie old-style game sounds cosmic. Yeah, so I don't want like modern Zelda, like Breath of the Wild Zelda, but you think again the same, not the modern Pokemons, but I'm thinking like 16-bit inspiration, like that, inspired by sort of the limitations of the environments. Valentine's plans, by the way, or stream? Ooh. Now, Nick's won't be with me on Friday. It is Friday, isn't it? Double check. It is, yeah, this coming Friday is Valentine's Day. No, Nick's won't be with me, so I'll be streaming on Friday. Unless Nick's can give me some reason not to. But we'll be seeing each other at the weekend. So we'll probably do some plans at the weekend, as usual. God, I love Unity. I'm glad it removed its game tax. Oh, me too. Like it wasn't going to affect me anyway. I'm never going to be making a high-selling game. But I'm glad they backed down very quickly over that. So stream on Friday, yes. So I will be streaming Friday, but not streaming on the weekend. So yeah, sort of. I say weekend's gonna be busy, so yeah, when we have to do any artwork, project stuff for the weekend either. But yeah, I can understand not many people being around on Friday because yeah, so we won't work on that game together this weekend. No, that's all cool. Yeah, so many things are happening this weekend. I finished Kingdom Come 2. Nice. What's your verdict on it then? Is it? Do you feel the game has enough content? Do you feel it finished too soon? Going from my old games, seems I had an obsession with artificial life. Ooh. Yeah, you do find you go back through your old libraries, you had a certain inspiration, that's something that draws you in. I played 16 hours a day since the 4th. Wow. Have a good rest of your stream. I will try to stop by later, but dinner time now. Okie dokie. Thank you for dropping in, QB, and thank you for the raid, bringing all these awesome people with you. I do appreciate that. Hope to see you again soon. Enjoy your dinner. And yeah, I'll be on for probably another 45 minutes. Good luck on the project. Thank you very much. Yeah, enjoy your dinner indeed. Not 100% yet, just finished, sorry. So yeah, I love it. Awesome. So there's quite a few hours in it, that's good. If you want a game that has enough kind of activity to keep you going, rather than go, oh, that ended way too soon, and the replayability is probably not there. Or you go, well, that was a great experience. Let me kind of brew in the feeling for a bit, and then I'll go back to it at a later date and re-experience it again. One thing about me is my ideas are bone dry or just really bad. Oh, but I'm sure they're not that bad. I'll be there on stream day. We do have Valentine's plans, but only dinner and for gifts. We'll be on. I don't expect you to be in the stream. I say it's a busy day for people. Speaking of that, I'm angry. Oh dear. The small range between too little content, too much content. Yeah, the struggles. Or you make banana clicker with energies. Yeah, that's the thing. You can have something that has very little content but replayability, and people will get hours out of such small amounts of content. Which I'm kind of hoping with this, that people will come back and play it at least a few times. Especially if I've added the timer in the top corner. Is that, well, people might be interested in, can I beat my time? I'll have like a scoreboard. I want to put a scoreboard in here, like, you completed level 1 in 3 minutes. Can you do it in 2? Things like that. It's more like a mobile game in my opinion. Yeah, it's definitely got the feel for, like, I've kind of designed it so it could work on the mobile, but I've not tested it on mobile yet. So it's going to be interesting to see how it would run. But yeah, if you can kind of sit there just playing away on something for a while. But as I say, I didn't make this game to be something that people would be interested in necessarily. It's like I wanted to make a game that I could play and go, well, I have made a game. It's more, can I do it? And I want to set myself out the target of just giving it a go. And if people want to play it, that's a bonus. Whereas my next project, I hope people want to play. So the stakes are a bit higher, because I'm going to be putting a lot more time in serious thought. I've done a lot of serious thought on my next project. Like, I've done so much writing, so much design, and I've not even done any coding yet. So all of that is kind of, I've been working on it without even opening Unity. So that game I hope people play. So I'm putting a lot of time into that. But this one, if people want to play it, awesome. It's more of like a little project for myself. But with guidance and suggestions from you guys in the chat, hopefully people will go, you know what, that seems fun. And I'm not intending to sell this game. I don't want money for it. I just want somebody to find something entertaining. What I do want to do is in the canvas. Return to main menu. options, projectile selection. There's something somewhere that just says play again. I have to find it. Hey Hoka, how old are you, by the way? Never asked. I am in my 40s now. I am 40. I am an old man with the beard to go with it. Don't feel it sometimes, and other days I feel like I'm 10 years older. But yeah, I grew up in the 90s with things like the Game Boy, the Mega Drive, the SNES. All the classic consoles. You're barely scraping old. Oh, thank you for saying so. In your 20s, nice. You're in the prime time. You have all the energy and all the possibilities ahead of you. The opportunities to shape your life in your 20s. Doesn't always go as planned. You don't always know what you want to do in your 20s. You don't necessarily know what to do in your 30s either. Wasting it geeking over games. It's never a waste. Anything that brings you joy is never a waste. The main thing is that you're enjoying it. If any time that anything you're doing is not enjoyable, that's when it becomes a waste. Well, I did a lot of time with games, so that's basically just sort of playing my Steam library is ever growing, and I just got to a point where I was getting games faster than I could play them. But I still enjoy it, and I still miss not being able to play them so often. But I'm trying to do a bit more these days. I'm trying to go, you know what? Forget about worrying about things that are going on. Just pick up the Switch, or pick up the Xbox controller, or switch on the PlayStation, and just enjoy a game like you used to. What a popular thing I hate in the game dev community. I'm not allowed to hate my own game. I think it's a bit of a weird one, because if you take any artist, any creator of media, will inevitably come to despise their own work in some way or form and go, well, this is not good enough for me. I can do better. I know I have something to produce something even better than this, or I don't feel I'm not meeting the standard I've set myself. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a painter, a musician, sort of a video producer. You look at it and go, well, I could have done that better. But that's not a bad thing, because as long as you don't beat yourself up over and go, you look back to, I could have done better. And it's not because you failed, but you look at it and go, well, that is a good bar to set. I can do better than that bar. It's not to say that this bar is too low. It's not to say this bar is not good. But this bar is a marker for me to exceed next time. But you're perfectly fine to hate your own work. You can go, well, that was coming from the wrong place. I approached it wrong. That is something I want to forget about. But as long as you take something positive out of that and go, well, I don't like it, but for these reasons, and I want to do better than that next time. I'm sure there's plenty of devs out there that hate their work. Possibly that they weren't doing it for the right reasons. Maybe they felt they had to make a game a certain way or add certain features. And they weren't adding it because they wanted to, or they felt it was right for the game, but they did it maybe through community pressure, or like it's just what people do. So I can understand, like, okay, I built this feature that I absolutely hated building, and I didn't want to in the first place, and I regret doing it. And that's perfectly fine. But then the next time you realise, I'm not going to cave to pressure, I'm going to do the thing that I want to do. If I don't feel it feels right for my game, I'm not going to add it. And you might sort of get messages saying, well, this is just the industry standard. Everyone does this. Why aren't you? You go, well, because I don't have to. I was banned from a game dev streamer's chat for hating my own game. All I was saying is that I could have done better. He was reviewing my game. Just told me to cry about it. That doesn't sound a very good streamer. The thing is, they were using your game as content by that point. Like, if they're reviewing your game, they're making content out of that review. They're gaining something. And any good reviewer will go, well, they would look at that and go, okay, don't be so hard on yourself. I can see why you might not like it. There's things that, yes, you could have done better. Maybe next time think about the following things. But believe in yourself. Don't be so hard. I can see what good you've done here. And then carry on. It's like, but yeah, they shouldn't be doing game reviews or reviewing any other people's work if they can't realise that artists do hate their own stuff. Like I've actually been in his stream for a while, but there's a music producer who streams, and he does music reviews of his subs. So anyone who subscribes to him, you can make some music digitally, so like dance music, drum and bass, sort of trance, any kind of like electronic dance kind of genres. If you're a subscriber, you can submit it to him and you'll do a stream where he reviews your stuff, goes, well, here's some tips, and sort of like guide you through it, and he's sort of very understanding because he's a producer himself. He goes, well, I came from where you are, and this is what I learned, and I can understand where you're struggling, but keep up the good work. I know you can do better if you feel that that's not good enough. And he's really encouraging, very good guy. But that's what it should be. If it's you want to be critical about it and a dick about other people's work, you shouldn't really be going for that. You can be critical about it. But yeah, certainly not the right kind of people to be around if that's what they're going to do. Let's make these a bit big. Don't want it quite that big. 0.25. 0.25. Yeah, that looks a bit better. Just put a 5 on the end. Oh, nice, it's all linked. Awesome. Bring it down a bit. But you're perfectly entitled to hate your own work, but I'm sure it's not as bad as you feel it is, but your feelings are still valid and you're still allowed to hate it. It doesn't negate how you feel about it. Other people might disagree, but your feelings are still valid because you can feel them. No one can tell you otherwise. I don't mind hate on my game, just shows me what I'm doing wrong, but when the hate is me, then it's something that's really wrong about the other person. Yeah, you're better off not being in that stream, no matter how you might have felt about them before, or thought, well, this guy can help me, or I kind of appreciate his work and I want to present mine. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a very good streamer to be in. I could never review other people's work because I don't feel I'm at a position to really critique or offer help from a position of expertise. Like I can go, well, as a gamer, as someone who enjoys the medium, I can go, well, in my experience of playing games, this is what I personally enjoy, and I can enjoy the feel of the game. I can enjoy the way it works. I can feel like a certain control system might be a bit awkward, or a level design might be a bit confusing. But that's only one person's perspective, and that's why you have many people test a game, many people play a game, give their feedback, and you find the common ground and go, well, many people have commented that the menu is a bit hard to read, or I can't quite understand where the exit of this level is. But yeah, that's where you can kind of judge the general populace and what they think. If one person says, I absolutely hate the colour of this game, and everyone else doesn't mention it, that's one person's opinion, and it's clearly not that big a thing if only one person mentioned it. I realise I've not really done much this stream but chat. Not that's a problem, I enjoy chatting. Level end, that's what I was looking for. Level end. There it is, level complete. Play again. It was under my nose this entire time. Play again. Right, let's get my Photoshop oop on. Let's make a graphic for that. On Friday I'll definitely be making level 2, I think. And I'll see what objects I can turn into prefabs and how they translate. I might have to do some changing in the code so they interact better as prefabs. That's something I'm going to have to learn as I kind of go with that. Let's wait for it to finish loading up. Still got the Aussies on the screen. I might have to restart the bot. It doesn't matter for how long it's going to be. It's a nice stream decoration. Check messages while that's loading. Is that finished loading yet? Seems so. Open recent button. Right. So this is all my buttons in one Photoshop file. We want to duplicate the there. And let's call this play again. Now I know technically you can drop this entire Photoshop file into Unity and pick out just the layers, which is quite cool. That Unity allows for such things. But the way I'm doing this, it is easy just to export PNGs. Dog walking time by you are back. Okie dokie. Enjoy the dog walk. Play again. Didn't know about that one. Yeah. So you basically get as long as each layer is kind of its own thing. Yeah, you can import the entire Photoshop file into Unity, and you would have the one file, but then it breaks out into individual layers. You can just pull each layer as a sprite, which is apparently how you do animated 2D puppets. So if you have like a 2D sprite and you make an NPC, then you have like the body is one layer, left arm is one layer, right arm is a layer, the head's a layer. You can then individually animate each layer like a puppet, rather than sort of bringing each part in individually. It's pretty cool. Yeah. There's something I wouldn't mind trying, because I've only really worked with 3D games. I am trying to work on some concept stuff as a 2D game. Although Unity has a Puppet 2D animator. I might have to look at that. Yeah, with Kartik Ikamori in the chat there. Sort of helping him work on a 2D concept through Unity. So I'm learning 2D stuff that way. But I'm going in for 3D to begin with, because I think in the 3D space I'm not very good with 2D space. Which I suppose makes sense, because humans naturally think in 3D. Or at least I do. Trying to think of something in 2D becomes very hard for me. I know, as far as games are concerned, you just have two shapes that interact. So conceptually as a game, it's going to be far easier, but I went for the 3D space, because I like to be difficult. So play again, I kind of, yeah, I like that enough. Yeah, it's just, I do want to save as. Save. Export to PNG. Let's call this button underscore play again. And we'll drop that into Unity. Where is it? Sprites, UI sprites. Button play. Play again. Okay, I've changed that to a sprite. It's one thing I've noticed with Unity 6. It automatically does a lot of things that you had to do manually with previous versions, which I find quite cool. Now, you bring an image file into Unity 6, it automatically sets it as a sprite. Whereas in this version of Unity, it you have to manually say this is a sprite. And I suppose they realise more often than not you're going to want it to be a sprite. Play again. Let's go play again. Drag that into there. Let's delete the text element from that, because we don't need that anymore. And if we copy the dimensions over, so you've got to think that all the UI buttons are the same size. Let's hide that. Time complete. Okay, so that's just a text input. So that's going to become more difficult to make on theme. I suppose not impossible. I suppose if you wanted like a custom font, you would probably take the text value, or like the 00:00, for instance, and then display a sprite for the 0 and a sprite for the colon, for instance, and position them as such depending on what the text value is. That's my guess of how you'd do it. You'd have sprites 0 to 9 and a colon sprite, and you'd position based on the text value. And level complete, could probably do with having that as a as something. If you hard coded it, yep, you would have to create a enum that translates the string into a game object, which in this case would be a sprite. Yeah, so that's what I'm, because the only thing I can really think of, you would have to create an alphabet pretty much, yeah. Like the only thing that's going to be dynamic is the time. So these 5 digits here, so the 00 colon 00, will be the value on the clock. So if it takes 3 minutes, that'll be 3 minutes. As far as I know, that's a great approach. I might be wrong. That's fair. But yeah, I'm thinking if it's going to be a dynamic value, you would have to create the alphabet and then display it as individual sprites. But level complete will always say level complete. But these 5 digits here with the time would be different. But then the time in the top corner, I could do the same. As it ticks up, rather than just entering text into the text box, it would be updating the sprite field according to the value. But I could write something for that. That could be interesting to try and write actually as a as an object that just outputs a series of sprites. Yeah, because I would like to. Because a lot of my knowledge anyway, my day to day. Because I work in software development. Loosely, I should say. My job title is not software development, but I work in software development. You basically, hey, that guy knows how to write software. Basically. So I work with office-based stuff, so sales systems and data tracking systems and all this. So this is basically a fun application of my day job, because I don't get to make games. I get to determine if there's enough stock available for a customer to buy, or do we know if this data is adding up, kind of thing. So my extent of UI is very much, here's a text box, here's a database, pull the value from the database, put into the text box. And there's no need for fancy UI. As long as it's readable, as long as it's clear, as long as it draws the user's attention to the right bit of information, then the UI is fine. But I like the idea of making a sprite for the alphabet, or at least numbers, because it's not going to be, I'm not going to have to put any letters in this, it's just going to be numbers. So I could do something like that. That would be fun. I would like making that actually. But I should certainly do that. I'll probably do it off stream. I'll make all the sprites and stuff for that, and I'll probably think about how the object will work. But it'll be an empty, and it'll have. I'll probably have to load all the sprites into it, and then it will just display the ones that are needed in the right places. Yeah, I'll give that a go though. But that's keeping a tickle in my throat. Let's write. Let's make a level complete. I'm gonna put that in there. I'm gonna go sleep. See you, junk. Okie dokie, thank you for dropping by, Tortoise. Much appreciate that. Hope you have a good rest, and hope to see you next time. Ooh. The damn tickle. Yeah, this is it's been a good stream as far as thinking, and thinking in any type of software development is just as important as actually writing code. I always like to consider time away from the keyboard. Thinking about a solution is still as much work as typing stuff on the keyboard. Or as much as I like to tell my boss while I'm sat there doing nothing. But no, it's important to think about the solutions before typing them. Actually, I can do that off stream. Let's think about. It's not going to be. It has to be on the canvas. That's going to be anything, isn't it? But you can put sprites on the canvas. So yeah, let's make an empty. Let's make an empty on the canvas here. Oh yeah. Most of the time, I think about a solution for a programming problem. It's often when I'm not at the computer. I feel that when I sit down and start coding, I dumb down quite a bit. I can fully understand that, sausage. But as weird as it sounds, I could be sat at the computer for an hour, not knowing where I've gone wrong or how do I deal with a thing. And then I think, well, I need to go to the bathroom. I will sort of come back to it. Maybe I'll get myself a drink. I'll go to the bathroom. And then I go, of course. Why didn't I think of that? And I get back to the desk, sit down, and I do it, and I can work solidly for an hour then. But yeah, just stepping away. Yes, that's it. You do so much thinking in the bathroom. But yeah, it's because you can't do anything but think at that point. You're not looking at the code, and the code is distracting you. You go, well, there needs to be a thing here, but I don't know what the thing is. And you step away and you go, well, I'm not thinking of where it's supposed to be. I'm thinking of how it comes together. But yeah, the amount of times I've done that, it does suddenly work. That moving away from the screen and the keyboard for any reason does help progress a project. So it's important. Like, there's no point being sat in front of a screen for 8 hours solid because you're not going to do any work. You might do a bit, you might get stuck, things will grind to a halt. So I fully subscribe to taking regular breaks and go, well, I've hit a point, my mind's gone to mush, as you say, I feel like I've dumbed down. I should know the solution, I should know what I need to do here. I just can't think what the best way to do it. And yeah, just taking that time away. And I suppose it helps with me at work. I work with at least 3 different languages at the moment. So I'm working with VisualBasic.net, working with Python, and I'm working with SQL Server. So if I got at the moment I got projects on the go that tie in all 3 of those, and I do some C# as well on the side. But there's no C# projects on the go at the moment. So if I'm stuck on one of those, okay, I'll forget this project for a moment. I'll do a little bit of work on this project. I go, I've just thought about a solution for this one. I can now switch back to that project. then maybe I'm working a little bit on this project and go, oh, that ties in with this, and I'll bring that back. So I'm very fortunate I can just switch between different codes and different projects. Yeah, it's often good practice. But I'm very, very fortunate I can switch. It took me a little while, because the one that gets me switching languages is the character that comments out a line is different in every language. And I get so confused, go, which one is it? Is it a slash? Is it a dash? Is it a hash? And yeah, it normally takes me a moment. No, I'm using this, so it's this. But other than that, being able to switch between them allows me to look at things differently. Back, brother from an English mother. I like it. Welcome back. Right, let's make an empty here. Let's call this time holder. And this time holder is going to actually hold the time. I don't know, by the way, your mother English, as far as I'm aware. True, when I learn a new language, that happens too much. Yeah, it's like every language, like most languages have a very similar structure, and you can kind of deal with that. But they all have different commenting characters. Yeah, to my knowledge, my mother is like Middle England, like I am. I don't know. Yeah, my family kind of is mostly been in the middle of England for at least a couple of generations. Never know, of course. No. No, my surname supposedly comes from Ireland, but there's a lot of my older generation of family sort of scattered around. My mother not Dutch. I am. Yeah, you mentioned kind of your heritage kind of diverses back out the Netherlands a little bit. But then sort of I've not really looked into sort of exactly where my family has progressed from, but I do know, at least going back a few generations, we are more than a few miles from where I am. So we're not travellers. We're not. I'm not from a family of people that like to kind of move around a lot. So there might be one or two people that have gone this direction or that direction, but for the most part, we're all very much here. So there's probably quite a few people that I've bumped into and I know who are actually my family members if you go back far enough and move across a tree. But I don't know. I know there's one person for certain who's I went to school with that I only recently found out is technically part of my family. If you go up about 3 generations and you go sideways and come back down again like a distant cousin. And, oh, didn't know that. Went to school with that person. But they're not close enough family to actually call family. It's all interesting. My parents are into doing like family trees and heritage and go, oh, where are people? Who are we related to? Is there any kings in the family? Certainly want to move this up a little bit. Because having it in the centre of the screen is maybe a little bit too much. Play again is probably okay there. Let's move all of these up. By the way, technically we 100% Dutch when you look at passports since my grandparents were born when Indonesia was still Dutch soil. Yeah, technically, yeah, makes sense. Can't argue with that. Time holder can go there. So we'll be doing that. I've not actually opened any code today at all. It's just been all UI, which is fine. Quite happy with that. Let's go to scripts. We'll make a script down here. Welcome back. We used to be a big empire, not as big as English, French or Spanish, but definitely a strong fourth or fifth. Yeah, I suppose you consider, especially as you had New Amsterdam at one stage. Let's call this time display. Yeah, so I reckon I can probably use this for both the timer in the top left and the timer complete. If we just throw in a time value, and all it does is just display the time value. It all went downhill when we lost that damn war against the Belgians. I'm still angry. Wasn't even there. Especially since it's our only war with them. They have 100% win rate. Yeah, that doesn't look good on the stats. Ooh, what's the time? It's getting quite late. Well, let it do its thing here. But I'll make this into a... I'll probably make this into a prefab. This time holder, not that one, this one. This time holder into a prefab. And I can use it in both the top corner and level complete then. But we want to add the time display code into there. And I'm thinking I can either make I could make a scriptable object, I suppose, that holds all the numbers, so 0 to 9, have them in as a variable object, then drop the entire scriptable object into this to then utilize. That could be a solution. That's not what I'm most angry about at the moment. It's the fact that company fucked up and Valentine's gift release will arrive a week late. Oh no! Oh, sorry to hear that. Because it takes away from the day a little bit. Well, I want to be able to present this gift, sort of in a gift exchange, and it's not going to be there. Yeah, Nix and I aren't doing anything because neither of us are kind of got a lot of money to work with at the moment, so we decided not to worry too much about gifts. But so ordinarily, yeah, we'd be wanting something nice to exchange, which is why it's not so bad that I'm not seeing Nix on Friday, because it's nothing specific that we will be doing this year. Let's make a scriptable object. Let's go C# script again, and let's call this numbers. So or number sprites. Number sprites. Okay. Sound volume, so it is create asset menu. Okay. And scriptable object. Okay, that's cool. So I can open the scripts in any other text editor without having to load up the whole Visual Studio. Visual Studio is pretty good at sort of managing the code base and sort of the IntelliSense on Visual Studio is really good. But I can open it in Notepad++ and just do quick edits, which I'm quite happy about. Let's go create number sprites. Let's go number sprites. Awesome. And it is the... Oh, I've lost it now. I've got so many scripts. Time display, that's it. I think because it's not linked to Unity, it doesn't tell you if it's correct or not. If Trump wants war with Canada and Greenland, we can do war with the Belgians. We'll probably lose again though. Yeah, at this stage it becomes is it really a maybe they help us out or not? It's always nice to kind of have like a friendly little battle now and again, I suppose. But certainly not to the extent that they're trying to do. Right, we put the number sprites in there. Yeah, so it means we don't have to load everything into that. We just put the scriptable objects in there. And for the scriptable object, very quickly. Do the proper coding on Friday. And there we go, got all the sprites. So we can load the sprites in. Well, it's probably I need to put the code on in there as well. Would make sense. Then the whole thing could be loaded at the same time. Although the codon will be in the holder regardless. Maybe. Yeah, let's put it in here. We can just call it from everything there. And on Friday we'll I'll try and get the sprites made, and we'll drop those in, and on Friday we can actually see that changing then to the actual show of the sprites. Be pretty cool. But yeah, I'll probably wrap the stream up there. Let's move over to the main screen. We do some proper. Still got Aussie on the screen there. Do some more do some actual coding on Friday. It's just been playing around with the UI today and chatting to you lovely folk. But yeah, I'll do a bit more stuff in Photoshop and get that kind of into a Unity, and we'll do some coding to actually get the stylized numbers coming up on the screen. You know, change a few things to make it look a bit nicer, then turn some things into prefabs, and we'll make a level 2. Should be fun. There are all those cool Aussies. It's still on the screen there. I think the bot's broken. Thank you for the stream. Thank you for being here, Lisa. Always appreciate you being here. Have a good night. You too. Thank you for the stream. Thank you, Jeffrey. And say I will be back on Friday. I know it's Valentine's Day on Friday, but I'll be online. And maybe I'll do some hearts around the stream. Have a Valentine's stream. And we do some coding. Maybe I'll have some hearts I can throw. I'll make a quick heart object I can throw with the trebuchet. That could be fun. Maybe broken, yeah. Have a good night, thank you, Sausage. Much appreciate you being here. Thank you for the follow. And yeah, everyone who else has been chatting and hanging out, you've all been awesome. Or whether you've been lurking as well, you're awesome as well. Yeah. Next stream on Friday, as I say, more game dev. Yeah, the bot. I think the bot's crashed. I'll probably have to fix that. But once it resets, it'll be fine. I hope you all have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and I shall see you all on Friday. So hope you have a good night, and I shall see you then. Good night.